Welcome to Scoop World Order Bye-Week Edition. This is one of the greatest weeks of the entire year. We have some fantastic time for these guys to get home, go see their families, go to their high school games, have a really good time. Super excited for these guys. Physical week of practice wrapped up. Coach is about to hit the road, and we are going to get into what went on and break down some Notre Dame film. But first, as always, we appreciate you guys. We're very thankful and grateful for you guys, as always, tuning in. It's a little bit of a bye week for us, bye week for you guys. Nothing really to be excited about this week is to just watch college football, not worry about the Bucks losing. So we're really excited about this. We're going to get into what goes on during the bye week, what the coaches can get done these next couple of days in recruiting. And we're going to break down a pretty crucial set of plays between the 4th and 1 stop and Trey Henderson's long run coming right up. That being said, I'm going to bring in my good friend Nevadabuck. Nevada, how are you today?
Well, I'm doing better than the Ohio State players who had a physical week of practice here. Yeah, they did. I mean, they're getting after it, and you love that when they do that. They have a nice off week, as you said, or a few days here to kind of get through the bye. Finished it up with some physicality. I'm on my 4th watching of the Ohio State Notre Dame game. Boy, there were some plays that could have swung that game one way or another. There's holds that weren't called. There were interceptions that were dropped, and I think it just reminds you how not to get wrapped up too much into the narrative on a game like this, because man, it could have swung one way or another, and everything could have changed. Everything about what we believe about Kyle McCord or about Ryan Day or about whatever, everything could have changed on just one play. So it was kind of a wild game, one of the wildest games I've ever seen in terms of that. So that was a fun one on the rewatch.
I honestly thought it was the perfect game to lead into the bye week because you get the win, which is the most important thing in the universe, but there's so much stuff to clean up. There's so much stuff that was poor and needs fixed. So, Ryan can take the whip to these guys, and this isn't like hey, congrats, we beat them 77-0. Let's take it easy this bye week. It's like, no, we got to turn it up about 10 more notches to get through Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, so, the practices were physical, man. I had people watching it, and, there were guys getting dinged, and it was a physical deal. This was not a, hey, you older guys go head to the weight room and just work out. I've had bye weeks in the past when I was on good teams, like in 2005, where, I was a little dinged up and I didn't do anything, but we were good. We were much better. We'd whooped Iowa. We had a bye week after Iowa, and, they kind of took care of some of the other guys. Like, outside of Marvin and Emeka, man, not many guys are getting taken care of because the rest of the guys, and obviously Marvin with the ankle, he's not doing anything. But, it's good. Like I said, I think that it's better to have these close, hard-fought wins, comeback wins. I prefer that to us beating Notre Dame 77-0, just because I think when you've got a team like this with a lot of new people playing, especially a new quarterback, like you don't want any sort of false confidence, false bravado. But that win was good. But again, like it's easy to turn the heat up on the O-line, turn the heat up on the quarterback, and to say, look, if we gotta go to Ann Arbor and win, gotta play 10 times better, because Michigan will be 10 times better than Notre Dame was. Nevada, what's the benefit to hitting the road for these coaches? Obviously, one of the highest rated games in college football history on NBC. And they're going to be wearing the Ohio State red jackets on the sidelines of these high school games. What's the benefit to that when these recruits see the Ohio State logo coming in after a massive win, top 10 win on national TV?
Well, it's just, like I said, it's, timing is everything in life. It's true in business. It's true in love. It's true in relationships, true in every aspect of your life. And, for Ohio State right now to be coming off, like you said, one of the most watched college football games of the last 30 years, thrilling victory, undefeated season going on, lots of high profile players, all over the board. What a great time to go out recruiting. There's nothing worse than trying to have to go out recruiting when you just got your butt kicked by, somebody, and you got to go out and try to explain. I guess that's the flip side where you're like, I guess you go out and pitch that we really need the help or something like that. But, people like to be part of a winner. And right now the Ohio State coaches could go on, with the heads held high, because look, the program's in a great trajectory right now. And I truly believe in stuff like that. I think that when things are going well and when you're on your way up, you find a way to win games like they did on Saturday night. And when things are going down, you find a way to lose. And you know what? Notre Dame found a way to lose that game on Saturday, and Ryan Day found a way to win. And that's why I think we've got, I think the future's so bright for Ohio State. And I made a post about this on the board, but I really meant this. You have to remember, Ryan Day was a first-time head coach when we got him.
Yeah.
So you have to expect a learning curve. Like, nobody comes in as a finished product in the coaching game. You have to screw up and blow clock management and blow rotations and make bad. I mean, that is part of the process. That's true for Saban. That's true for Meyer. That's true for every coach that's ever been. And these games like this where, he puts together a great game plan for Georgia, he wins a high-profile game like this at Notre Dame, it just shows you Ryan Day's evolution as a coach, as a play caller, as an overall administrator. And I think what we're seeing right now is a more complementary offense and defense working together, and that's why you're seeing what you're seeing right now. And Tressel was a master at it, but it took him years, and it took him years, doing that, perfecting it at Youngstown State. But I think Dave's figuring out how to meld the offense and the defense, how to kind of get the styles kind of matching up. And I think the result is a really solid Ohio State team that's just getting better.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you have to, really marry the defense to the offense. Like Tress, again, everybody hated his offense because it was run Dave, except for in 06 where we threw it all over the place with Troy. But, our thing was, let's not put the defense in a bad spot. Let's make them drive the field against our defense and let our defense carry the water, keep our defense fresh, run the football, keep the clock moving. Like I said, in 07, my senior year, we lost a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, 2 wide receivers. So we had a new quarterback, we had Beanie. So we were ground and pound, man. We were running the ball, running the clock, and our defense ended up number 1 in total defense in the nation because, they were fantastic, but they also kept in good spots, didn't make them, we didn't do anything dumb, tried not to turn the ball over. And that all adds up and helps, like at the end of the day, when you add up all those little pieces, it turns into a big piece. And we had fantastic players like James Laurinaitis, Malcolm Jenkins, Vern Golson, Cam Hayward, just dudes, Marcus Freeman, dudes everywhere. And, but I think that's something that, when you go on the road, I say it every week. I say it when we go on the road, you got to pack your running game and you have to pack your defense. So we're going to actually go to the film room because this is actually a really good segue because, Trey Henderson is a guy that has taken more dumb thoughts than maybe anybody in history. But here's packing the defense. 4th and 1 on the road, QB sneak, got to have it. And these guys, these guys get their Sonny, Lathan. He tries to do a little crafty sneak. This is like prior in the 08 Penn State game. Doesn't go right behind the center because he sees Tommy diving. And, you got silver bullets flying to make us stop. And again, this is one of those things, man, when you're in that stadium and you hear all the wind come out, and then you look at these guys over here, this just electrifies the offense, the team. It takes the air out of the stadium when they don't convert on a 4th and 1, because 4th and 1s are almost a given. But I'm telling you, man, this is such a huge play to do that. Let's see if I can get Trey's run on here. I think it skipped ahead. And then, you go to Trey Henderson's run. And this is just this is a topper play. We used to call this topper bash. It used to be a read play. Let's see if we do a read here, if it's just this is just a full counter. But the quarterback kind of winds back because you could do a throw off this. That's probably like the next progression, but this is just a simple counter play, and you've got Trey coming. And again, this is what I love with Trey Henderson. It drives me crazy when we run these short side runs where you put Trey back here and you run it to the short side of the field. Give Trey all this extra grass over here because in college football, which is different than the NFL, the hashes are way wider. So you're not playing in the middle of the field the whole game. So when Trey gets this ball, it's this guy basically because this guy ain't gonna get him unless he's Ray Lewis in his prime in Miami. But he gets this, man, and we're had it up right here, and it's just a foot race. Great blocking out here on the edge. And then, you have one guy miss it, and he's gone. God bless Marvin. This looked terrible live, but yeah, it's just one of those things where you'd rather Marvin just cut the guy. But when Trey gets loose, man, it's like a thing of beauty. Nevada, what were you thinking when you saw 32 in the open field like this?
Man, I'm telling you, he reminds me of O.J. Simpson with that running style.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me with that 32, the way he goes. But, he just has that different gear. He's got that ability to, when he gets around the corner, that he can take it to the house. Because, think about it. And this is not disrespecting any other running back on our roster. But if that's Chip or if that's Mayan, that's a 8-yard gain or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Trey's just different. And I think for our fans, the ones that were bagging on him last year is like, I don't even know what to say. But for the ones that aren't quite sure what's going on, that's what Trey brings to you. And it's not, he's not like some specialty back. He's just a guy that's got freakish speed. It runs violently. I know people were bagging on his pass protector. He's actually a really good pass protector as well, really good pass receiver. I mean, he does a lot of really good things. And, no, is he the guy that you want on 4th and 1? No, because I'm not sure if he would have made it. Chip really made a great play on that 4th and 1 against the 10-man defense. But no, he showed exactly what he brings to the offense right there. And I mean, without that, I mean, it's Captain Obvious here, but you don't win the game. You don't win the game without that play. A lot of individual plays with it, but that was one that put us up 10-0, gave us some room, and kind of position us for success. But I have a question for you, Mr. Barton. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You've coached, you've played, you've been on the sideline. What is going on? And I don't want just like some sort of fluffy answer. What is going on with Notre Dame where they can have 10 guys on the field? And they've done it They've done it before in previous games. They did it twice in the biggest. What exactly is going on there that's causing them to have 10 guys on the field?
Well, I think that you have too many guys that are just watching the game and not truly coaching. I think that's part of that's on Marcus. And honestly, like I hope nothing but the best for Marcus. And I've texted with Marcus, not since the game, but like during camp, I was like, you guys need to do some things better. I got people everywhere and they tell me things, and like, Marcus, just to be constructive, not to hurt you, like, here's some stuff that you guys need to do better, just for your sake, in recruiting, visits, other things, some feedback that I got. And Marcus needs help. Like, I'm just telling you, man, like Al Washington, if Urban was the head coach, he'd be demoted. I mean, he'd be a quality control coach after that, because like, how can you not be watching your unit, and how can you have, and again, this is what's so egregious about it. This isn't the heat of the moment. This is coming out of a timeout. You switch your personnel. They're in dime, 3 down, and then they go to goal line. So, you do substitution review every Friday. Like, every team does this before they go to dinner. They do a full team walkthrough, and then they do substitution review. So it's like, okay, if Kirk Barton is out of the game, John Skinner's in the game. Like, whoever your backup is, like, you have to literally physically walk in and out of the huddle, and you do that for punt team, field goal team, starting defense, nickel defense, dime defense, goal line defense, punt return, onside kick, hands team. You go through like 1,000 different things, but and it gets monotonous, but you do it so that you have that physical changing of bodies. Okay, we're going from dime to goal line. Okay, who's on? Okay, we got the nickel and the dime back coming out. We got 2 D linemen coming in, and you go through it. And like, they come out of a timeout and they have 10, and then this is the worst part. This is what's amazing to me. There's like 10 people up in Notre Dame's press box. And I'm just telling you, like, somebody has to be on binoculars looking at that. They have to be looking at the field. And the fact that no one was up there and nobody said, oh my God, we have 10. Oh my God, you got to get someone on. Like Marcus, Al. I mean, because guys are on headsets. It's like chaos. But I mean, when I was working between Tom Herman and Tim Hinton, I was on binoculars every play. I'm watching my side of the field. If whatever side of the field was closest to the sideline, Ed Warner would watch. Whatever side was further away, I would watch. Just because he'd watch the tackle guard closer to him, and I'd watch the other 3 guys that were further, because I had a better view. But the fact that nobody on that entire staff on the field, or even worse, in the press box, said that there's 10 guys on the field is completely insane. Because I just don't. I mean, I know that it's crazy and chaotic, but like, that's where you have to be like calm in the eye of the hurricane when that's going on. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel bad for Marcus, because I hate Notre Dame maybe worse than Michigan. So I don't care. I'm just happy that we beat them. But I mean, that's just egregious malpractice. And honestly, that's probably why. I mean, that's why Ryan Day fired Al Washington. I mean, he fired him. That was his like guy from Boston College. But when it came down to it, when he was coaching the linebackers, our linebackers were absolutely terrible. Jim Knowles comes in, great, magically, our linebackers go from being the worst group on the team to pretty good last year to, not pretty good last year, fantastic last year, as in like Tommy Eichenberg could have won the Butkus good last year. and they're playing at a good level this year. Did they have a bad game against Notre Dame? Yeah, sure. That happens sometimes. When you go against really good players, sometimes you're not going to have your best day. But, I'd hang my hat on Tommy and Steele being fantastic. Steele's fantastic through the first 3 games. Tommy's preseason All-American. So, you go from Al Washington, coach your linebackers, to Jim Knowles. Like, and again, I'm not trying to come off the top rope on Al. I mean, me and Al have talked, and me and Al, when he was up for the Tennessee defensive coordinator job, we kind of had it out because we had the story right that he had accepted the job, and then he backed out at the last second. And I told him, I'm like, dude, like, you're an idiot. I mean, you could be an SEC D coordinator at 36 years old and make $1.5 million a year for 3 years. You can always go back to being a linebackers coach somewhere. But if someone wants you to be a DC at an SEC school at that young of an age, like, and again, like, Heupel's decent, and I mean, that's a lot of money to turn down and a big opportunity. Now he's a D-line coach and he's still doing fine, but my God, man, you make a mistake like that. Like, I just, I texted, with some big time coaches, and they just were besides themselves. Cause I don't know how you look at guys like Joe Alt, the left tackle, top 10 pick, superstar. And you have to look him in the eye and say, yeah, I wasn't smart enough to put all 4 D linemen on. Like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you look at that quarterback. I don't know how you look at the athletic director, the boosters, but hey, it's not our problem, because you know what? The big bad Buckeyes won. That makes me very happy. Is that a good answer?
No, I just wanted to hear, because like you said, it's happened in previous games for Notre Dame.
Oh
and
yeah.
Then for it to happen twice in a row, it's like, that's clearly some sort of a systemic problem right there. Yeah, that's not just like that was bad luck. Somebody was going to the bathroom, or somebody was getting nachos, or whatever it was. Like that can't happen at any level. That's like me coaching my little Pee Wee team, and you're looking for little Timmy, and Timmy's in the bathroom or something like that with his mom, and he's not out there on goal line defense or something. But thank you, Notre Dame.
Well, I mean, like, you're paid to be a coach. You're not paid to spectate and watch the game. Again, and sometimes, like, I don't know, when we have 600 coaches on the sideline at Ohio State and every school does it, like, I don't know what a lot of these guys do. I'm sure they make them do a bunch of spreadsheets and self-scouts, but how many of these guys are really adding value to the stuff? I don't know. Eventually, it's diminishing returns when you have 8 million people on the sideline. But, if you're going to have that many people, one of them better be able to count to 11. I mean, again, if I'm Marcus, I'm saying, okay, Kirk, you're the defensive GA, you're the D-line GA. You count to 11 every single play. Every single play. You count to 11. It's like NFL, like officials, like NFL officials, they got a guy that count to 11 on every play before the snap. And that's when you see 12 men on the field, like right before the snap, illegal substitution, like that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I guess you just got to teach someone to do it. Because, again, if you're the D-line coach, you should know, okay, I got 4. If you're the linebackers coach, I got 2 or 3. If I'm the secondary coach, I got 4 or 5. So you should be able to count to 4 or 5. If you're the secondary coach, you're never going to have less than 3, unless, I guess, you go goal line with 60 linemen. But I don't know, man. It's truly bizarre. And thank Christ that we scored, because they almost stopped us when they had 10. And we were about an inch away from getting stopped with 10. And I can't imagine in a parallel universe where we get stopped and they have 10 guys. Because I don't know what they would have called that. Maybe they would have called that like shutdown Jesus or goal line Jesus or something. Like goal line Jesus was playing defensive end and stopped Chip Trayanum. But that's what they're calling it in a parallel universe. So I'm just glad we're not there. What else? So the bye week is here. A little bit about the bye week. It's the greatest week of the year for these players. For these coaches, it's great. I mean, a lot of them are hitting the road tonight to go out and see kids at high schools Friday. I would bet a lot of money that Brian Hartline's going to go see J.J. Smith, or someone's going to go see J.J., go see Shamadad, go stop at a bunch of high schools in Miami, go watch J.J.'s game, go check out some 25s, some 26s, get some eyeballs on some young guys, offer some guys. A lot of offers are going out this week. So, yeah, it's an exciting time for coaches. For players, it's the absolute best, because this is a weekend where a lot of these guys are going to go home. They get to be big man on the high school campus, like go to the high school game, wearing all their OSU gear, like feeling fresh, looking fresh. Like, it's like it's fun to do. It's fun to see all your peeps, like especially for some of the super young guys. Like, I'm sure I bet a lot Brandon is probably heading down to South Florida for a few days, and a lot of these guys are flying home. Like, it's fun to go home, see the family, watch college football as a fan on a Saturday. That was the best. I remember 2005, our bye week, I went and I watched, I was watching, I think it was Michigan, Iowa. at my family, at my cousin's house, and it was just so fun to actually be like a fan and not have to worry about a game later, and let your body heal up a little bit. And I don't know, I just think it's so fun to be able to just take a week off and just heal up a little bit and reflect and see where you're at. And then after this week, man, it's sprint time. Like there's no more buys. This is it. So it'll be really interesting to see how these guys hit the ground running against Maryland. Again, I love how the schedule sets up with Maryland, kind of ramps up to Penn State. Then you got Wisconsin. Then you got Michigan. Penn State is looking like it's a big noon kickoff on Fox. Nevada, I know how much you love noon games, especially for the big home game. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, I'll give you guys a quick little betting stat, which is kind of an interesting stat. Teams that are home teams coming off a bye week cover it like 68% of the time, as opposed to road. So that's kind of a good betting indicator. I always like being at home coming off the bye week as opposed to being on the road after a bye week. Because I think after a bye week, there's a chance for a little bit of it's kind of wrecked with the rhythm. Things are kind of messed up a little bit. You're relaxed, and you can lose focus a little bit. Maybe you come out of that a little soft. So I think the schedule sets up perfectly for that. So that's one thing. Secondly, noon kickoffs. This is one of the few areas that me and my boy Bert Carton have a big disagreement on. I hate big noon kickoff. I hate it. I understand it. I get it. I understand why from a business standpoint it makes sense. I just hate noon games, man. I give me some 3:30 action. Give me those 8:00 games. 3:30 is kind of perfect because 3:30 it's not too late that but I've told the story many times. But the reason they don't do more late kickoffs, more night games, is because of the older alumni that complain to the athletic director that they have to drive home in the dark. And
it's scary. That's not urban. It's scary out there.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary and dark, and people don't like to drive in the dark. And I don't understand it because I just love everything about the night game environment at Ohio State. I think I was at the first night game ever at Ohio Stadium. I was at the first probably 10 or 12 night games, and I just fell in love with the stadium at night. I just always thought it was just such a special environment. And I remember when you guys beat Texas in 2005 there at night. Oh no, that's right. You guys lost to Texas.
You gotta hand beat me to death. I hope the Packers get killed tonight. By the way, go Lions, go Pride.
Oh man, yeah, no. I got a bet on the Lions on the money line, but that's another story. But no, I love the night game environment in Columbus, and so the noon game. Hey, make the best of it. Hopefully the Buckeyes come out. I think it's not optimal on one hand on getting kids in for the West Coast and some of the states, but it does give you the whole day or the entire evening to kind of spend with them and do some things with them and have some time. And hopefully we're going to have a big one. We're going to beat Penn State. I think they've beaten us in Columbus in the past 30 years, like twice or something like that. And it's good Penn State team, really good Penn State team. Going to be a fun game. But I think the Buckeyes are going to take care of business. I think this Ohio State team is revved up for just a slow build, and it's going to get better and better and better every week. I sincerely believe that. I think the game on Saturday night will propel them, much like we've seen other key games where the season hangs in the balance, can go one direction or another. I think that the arrow is pointed straight up. I really think this Ohio State team is going to take care of business.
Okay, so I don't hate night games. When I was a player, I hated night games. As a coach, I hated night games. As a fan, I'm kind of agnostic. Like I don't really care. It's not as bad as a player. But when you're a player, I'm just telling you, man, you wake up at like 8 a.m. Sometimes they'll give you 8:39 when it's a late game. But then it's like the difference between a noon game and a night game for the players is like you have like 3 or 4 more walkthroughs during the day. Like you wake up, have a walkthrough, eat breakfast. Then you go have like 2.5 hours to go lay in your room, have another walkthrough. Then you eat like dinner, lunch, whatever it is, like the 5 o'clock meal. Then you have another walkthrough, and then you get all together and you walk over to the stadium. So it's like a noon game. You have like a little quick 15-minute walkthrough, breakfast, then go get your gear on and you're walking. You're going. So the biggest difference is like you just have to kill like 8 hours in a hotel room. Like miserable. And it's even worse like when you're not at the Blackwell, which is where the team stays at home, and you're on the road at some crappy like hotel, like that sucks. Like that's terrible. Like the road night games are the worst because then you don't come till like 4 a.m. Just because the games get done at midnight and then everyone's got to get cleaned up and you got to do media and you got to go do TSA pre-check and go to the charter and it sucks. Now the biggest disadvantage to this being a noon game for Ohio State is, man, it sucks for recruiting because like you can't get a lot of these kids. They play Friday nights and they'd be flying in on Saturday, or so it's like you got kids coming from Florida, California, and it's a noon game. They can't get there. It's a night game. You can fly a kid in from California. He'd probably get here at like 5 or 6 because of the time change. But that's the thing that sucks is like when you've got kids coming from far away for recruiting purposes, it's really hard to get them here for a Saturday noon game. And like the thing that really sucks is like Penn State is really the only good home game this year. So the fact that they screwed us and put it at noon. It stinks, but I do like noon games because then I can get home and watch Jeopardy and eat my little rice pudding at night and my water. And you guys know how I like to do it on Saturday night.
Yeah, I would think for you though, man, as much as you eat all those like meal, you're like a hobbit. You have like breakfast, then second breakfast, and then lunchies, then supper, and then dinner and stuff like that. So I could see that would be appealing to you.
Well, like the hardest part about like game day is like I would just inhale my food, and it's better just to get one meal in, breakfast, and then go play, and you're done. And then afterwards, you get to go out to eat and eat like a house. Like Friday, I would eat like a hog. I'd eat like 8,000 calories and just hog out. It was amazing. And then like Saturday, like you get your one little breakfast, you're done, dressed, ready to go, and then you're done by like 4, which is great because I just like getting it done. The hardest part for me, like with the big noon, is I hate when we play like because what we'll do is like we'll put Penn State at noon, but then we'll play like Akron as a night game or like Toledo as a night game or some stupid game that nobody wants as a night game, and that's the worst because then like we'll play Akron as an 8 o'clock kick, and then I'm like, well then we can't watch like the Alabama Georgia game or whatever like the real game of the week is. You're stuck at the shoe watching a game, which is fine, but I don't know. I digress. In the comments, I want to know: do you guys prefer noon, 3:30? Night games? What's your favorite game to watch either? And give me one in person and give me one on TV. Because, on TV, if you're not going to the game, it's a road game. Night games are awesome. Like that Notre Dame game was fantastic. It was a great time. Well, I think we'll wrap this thing up. The Go Pack Go are about to kick off in about 10 minutes. Any final thoughts, Nevada?
Just good week of practice for the Buckeyes. From an injury standpoint, Ohio State's in good shape. Things are looking good heading into the bye week. Looking for a big week next week and a big performance next week against Maryland.
Yep. Excited for the boys. Really nice week of practice and a couple of minor scares, but looks like most of the guys got out there clear. Got a couple more reports coming in soon. So that being said, as always, appreciate you guys so much. If you enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click the little alert bell so you can get in on our live content. We appreciate you guys so much tuning in. I hope you guys have a great bye week. Watch some college football. Get on BuckeyeScoop.com, the #1 message board experience for Ohio State fans, #1 companion for football. So we appreciate you guys so much for being a part of it. If you guys aren't a part of it, jump in because this is about to be a fantastic ride to Ann Arbor. So I'm super excited for this season, and it's looking like it's going to be a good one. As always, shout out where you guys are watching from. I hope if you guys are headed to any high school football games, shout out what games you're going to. I want to see where you guys are at. I saw Wheelersburg, Portsmouth. My Southern Ohio boys are rolling deep on the chat. Appreciate that as always. So appreciate the love. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Go Bucks.